Hey folks, finally Gen Con 2022, day number 4, the last day, Sunday morning, 10 to 2. I ran the Unctuous Brew, which is a Call of Cthulhu scenario, and I actually was a player in this game at Chaosium Con, along with Little Carker State, because I wanted to see from a player's perspective how the game ran, to be familiar from that perspective before running through the scenario itself and trying to present it. And magic wasn't an issue on this one. Magic was an issue with the old Carker estate because I don't know Cthulhu magic that well. And the starter set rules I had don't discuss magic pretty much at all. So I tried to bastardize it from the RuneQuest magic, power versus power kind of thing that I knew. And there's also the insanity rules. I knew basically how the insanity works, and there's the temporary insanity and losing your points. And when you get a certain point below your total insanity, you go completely insane, that kind of stuff. And in the rule books I had with me, it had that explained out. So I had that to use, except for the old Carker Estate game that I covered Todd for, because I didn't have my stuff. I wasn't prepared for it. But thankfully, one of the guys' table, or a couple of people had it on their phone, so they could, read the rules out to us and help us get through all that stuff. So Unctuous Brew. Okay, so 1920s. Everybody's got a tie-in to this fellow that owns this tea company, and they all have different cover stories to go and investigate what's going on because things aren't doing well. The tea is coming out is not happening. It's not selling. It's not good. Go see what's happening. So, but they don't know each other, right? And it's not like the guy brought them all into his office like with the Carker estate. Okay, how did you do this thing? Do it. It's like individual one-on-one stuff, and then there's this behind the scenes character that is sometimes mentioned, sometimes just mentioned and anonymous, and in the scenario itself has a specific designation, a title. So there's a couple of parts where I'm going through the game and going, does anybody have this on the back of their character sheet, because it ties into stuff happening? And of course it doesn't, because there needs to be some re-editing on this thing. But they come off the ship, and there's a vehicle there that wasn't Dale, but this tea farm? Tea plantation. And so they all get on, and they start, so I addressed one of the players. Okay, you start walking towards the car, and you notice these other people all walking towards the same car, and you all get there, and the guy puts bags in the back, and they all get a chance to, hey, well, you here? So that's a chance to introduce characters to each other at that point. And as they're riding to the estate, get to the estate, there's the estate manager guy and his wife. He's all very happy and bubbly and helpful and joyous, and she's very stoic and quiet and stern, but very richly dressed, and he's rather shabbily dressed. Things just don't fit, that kind of thing. And let's get off onto the, what's it called? They're going to, I hate when words leave my mouth. I don't know what I'm saying. They're going to tour. That's it. A tour of the factory and the estate. Then he calls to the girl, take their bags into their rooms, and off they go. So there's a chance of seeing various factories and warehouses. There's some unusual things. If you make your awareness rolls, you get to see this or see that or hear this or hear that, to get bits and pieces of clues that there's weird stuff happening here. For one example, the workers, well, they seem to be in good health and doing well, don't seem to like the guy. And in fact, if you're successful enough on your rolls, they're actually disdainful to him. In fact, they're dissing him to his face, just in their own way, so he doesn't really see it's happening, kind of deal. He doesn't seem to comprehend what's going on. There's a chance of seeing certain leaves being plucked out and piled up, and the guy says, "Oh, that's for quality control. Don't worry about those." And there's some equipment in a corner. They say, "Oh, yes, that's my new processing tractor kind of thing, that kind of stuff. The new harvester is going to do these wonderful things. It's going to speed up processes. Good, right?" And then there's a chance of seeing an actual plant that is bigger than the rest. It's almost glowing. Its color is so bright, and it's got spots, and if you reach out and touch it, it's actually kind of oily or something. Not good. And if that's brought to his attention, then it's, "Oh, yes, there's a parasite or something. We are taking these out and burning them. We're taking care of that issue. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. It's not a problem." And then after it's all through the factory, you get down to the village, and there's a doctor in the group. He's has been asking questions about the health of the people. That's his focus, with health of people. Okay, I mean, they're slaves here, right? So, slave town, shacks, that kind of stuff. Their clothing isn't all that hot, but they're doing okay physically. They seem to be all right. Some are out in the field, some are here in town. But as they get closer to town, there's this big ruckus going out in front of one of the houses. People running in and out, that kind of stuff. And so investigators get a chance to investigate. The manager kind of make room, and they get in. There's this guy, really, really old, laying on a cot. They ask what's happening, and of course, most of the people here speak this language from the local island where they are. There is one girl in the party who does speak that language, and the player for that character was a teenager, and she would get into a role most of the time about being a flighty entrepreneur type and flirty and that kind of stuff. It had a number of quippy comebacks, so it was a lot of fun. So there's some translation. Some people speak a little bit of English, that kind of stuff. But they find out that he had collapsed outside of the village, and they brought him in. And his son, who is 10 years old, is stranger danger, right? Leave my daddy alone. You can do this. And the doctors trying to let the boy know, "I'm here to help. I'm a doctor. I might be able to help him," that kind of stuff. And a couple of the players, actually, there's 2 players who can speak the language. They try to assist with the language. And if you get some good rolls out of that, the boy kind of warms up to you, and you can get some more information. So it turns out this guy, while he looks like he's 90, is in fact much, much, much younger. He's like in his 40s, 50s kind of thing. And he starts not hallucinating, but he's having hallucinogenic shouts. He's just mumbling things out. Something about darkness and stay away from the dark, and it's coming, death, we need to get away, that kind of stuff. But because the party made nice and got a good reaction with the boy, he's trying to show off how smart his dad is, and shows him this guy's logbook. And he's got some numbers and letters and some weird stuff in there. And of course, the scenario doesn't tell you this weird stuff is written in a strange language. That is the same language that certain players have notes that they were given from the anonymous man. That kind of stuff tied in is not written in the scenario. So it came out later. Hey, I started putting stuff together because I had the character sheets when I was going through the scenario myself. So anyway, but they do find out there's coordinates on here. They're making rolls and stuff, and they realize that there are coordinates in here, and it's like a sky chart kind of thing. Like he's tracking something either coming to the Earth or going away from the Earth or something like that. I think that's how they got out of the journal. And the boy won't let them take it, so the boy takes it back. And the manager of the estate says, "I asked the doctor, is there anything else you can do?" And the doctor, does some stuff to help the guy out. Says nothing else I can do. Well, they can take, the servants, the villagers can take care of themselves. And let's go. This is not good. Let's go back to the estate. And so they go back to the house, the bungalow, back to the bungalow. There's a chance to do some investigation there at the bungalow for a while. Then there's dinner. Oh, there's tea. First there's tea. They get back to the bungalow. They have tea, and he brings out his new recipe. Try it. It's relaxing, and smells ambiance, that kind of thing. And the girl downs it. Everybody else is very suspicious. A couple of people do taste it, and it tastes kind of oily. It's bitter, and it's not that good. And he gets white. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Here, let me take this all the way. Let me take this all the way. And we have all these teas over here, all kinds of different kinds that are flavor and fresh and that kind of stuff. And there's also a stock sugar cabinet if you're into that. And so one of the guys takes his tea and pours in some brandy. And so they have tea, she has to talk and that kind of thing. And the whole time the guy is being gushing and helpful and friendly, and his wife is being very stoic and mean. And every time there's some discussion about how the state may not be managed properly, she intervenes herself and gets in the way. But it comes out that one of the guys is there to look at the books. And so they take him to the study. Here's the books. You can look at them. And at some point during that time, he's looking through the books. He's able to see, yeah, there is some minor fudging of numbers here to cover up something, but nothing massive. Then he starts poking around inside the study. And at some point that's going on, the wife comes in. What are you doing? You're here to study the books. Did you find what you need to do? And so there's a back and forth with him and her, clashing of personalities because, he knows something's going on here and that kind of thing. He's got stuff he'll be taken back to the office and that kind of stuff. Well, fine, take the books out of the study. Later on that night, there's dinner. During dinner, there's chances of seeing some stuff out in the fields. There's funny noises, animal calls, stuff you'd recognize, the local fauna kind of stuff, and the guy blows out. It's just local animals. But there's some weird sounds out there too. If you're making a roll high enough. And if you make enough observation, you can see there's actually a glow to the north outside in the fields. So there's something weird going on. And some more conversation at dinner. After that's over, everybody to bed. One of the guys and the private eye, they talked during dinner a couple times with the investigator, the accountant kind of guy. And okay, there's something going on. Check out the study. So these two decide to sneak out at night and investigate the study. It's locked. Well, can I bust it open? You could, but it's gonna make a whole lot of noise. But the private eye says, hey, I got you. Got tools. He mixes lockpick stuff. He gets it open. They go inside. They investigate around. And as they're looking at papers, they say, hey, take a look. Is anything unusual? And the private eye looks through this and has some connection with mobsters. And so these are our petty criminal kind of threat letters to the guy because he's got debt back in the States. So that kind of comes out. They put everything back the way it was, back to bed. In the morning, the socialite who drank the tea is sick. Sick. In fact, she loses sanity, hit points, and magic points. That puts her at 0 magic points, so she goes unconscious. So she's in a coma upstairs. Doesn't come down for breakfast. So when everybody's down for breakfast and she's not there, and they said, oh, she wasn't feeling well, she's still in bed. The doctor goes to check out what's going on. He's trying to help her out and do stuff. And while that's going on, the servant girl comes running in the house saying, come quick, danger, something happened. And so everybody comes out, they all go down, and as they start going down the road towards the village, they see these bird-like things on the road and in the village. Pretty sparse out. The closer to the village, the more and more there are. The closer you get that kind of stuff. So they start to investigate the birds that make sandy rolls because these birds are dead, but they're also twisted and tainted. Like some have extra wings, some have extra legs, some have extra heads, some have human eyes and human ears, human faces even. Insides on the outside, all kinds of icky stuff, right? And so they go and tell what's going on. When they get to the village, they find that some of the villagers are piling up these dead bird things in piles. They're going out in the field, dragging them. trying to clean up certain parts of the town, that kind of stuff. It's all nasty. So the doctor, I remind the doctor about his patient. So he goes to go see how the patient is doing, and they go in and they have a discussion with the guy. The guy's feeling better now. He's coherent, and they ask him about his book, and there's some discussion back and forth. And it's at that point that the whole connection with these letters and the certain symbols in the book come together, and the guy is elated. We can do it. We can do it. We can cast a spell with your parts. I can put it all together. Spell. And so there's some sanity rolls and stuff going on here as he reiterates this mythos spell kind of thing. And the doctor goes temporarily insane, and he huddles in the corner. He's afraid of the outside. They find out about a telescope. The guy had been out in the field with his telescope, and he got a magical telescope from the anonymous person. This behind the scenes guy's giving everybody everything that can track this thing from space. That's what he's doing. He's tracking it from space, and it landed into the north. And so the investigator guy and one other guy decide to go out in the field and look for this telescope. They get directions and they go out there, but it's towards the north, right? It's towards this where they saw the green lights before. And as they get close enough, but the guy warns them, stay away, stay away. It's powerful, it's dangerous, it'll kill you, and we need to use this spell to trap it. Oh, I forgot to mention spoilers. And so they go out, and so I have this thing attack them to get them out of there, and it whacks one guy, whacks him really good. He collapses. The other dude finds the telescope, grabs him, and helps the other guy out, and they get out of there. So they get back to the village. They get the doctor. They got to put a coat over his head and hold him close to get back to the bungalow. And after about an hour or two, the socialite gets out of her coma. She's conscious now. She has one magic point. And they all get together. And they talk about, okay, this is what the guy says about doing a magic spell and this, that, and the other. That evening, all kinds of colors from the north, all kinds of funny animal sounds from outside. Storm, wind blowing, it's getting all really nasty. And the villager guy comes running in. I've got it ready. We need something to put it in. And at one point, they were discussing all these strange things they got, and one of the players has a picture of a teacup, and that is a picture of a teacup that one of the players has. So maybe this is it. We should use the teacup. So they go out into the fields. They set up an area. They all go within 20 meters of each other, and there's the teacup. The guy starts casting the spell. While the guy is casting the spell, the critter gets to attack, and it takes it takes 3 rounds to cast the spell. So the critter randomly attacks 3 of the players, sucking hit points, sucking magic points, sucking sanity. And one of the characters has a whole bunch of magic points, because it takes 10 magic points to cast the spell. And then if you put more magic points into it, apparently that increases the chance. But again, it's not described in the scenario, and I don't know magic that well, so I ad-libbed. And I don't think anybody went unconscious, but some people got whacked, and then into the teacup. There's a swirling color in the teacup, and then it disappears, I believe. But that's kind of the end of the scenario. There's the get everybody out of town, but you can't because we got 2 vehicles. End of the scenario. There's the monster gets loose and kills everybody. End of the scenario. And then there's the trap the monster, and you get to go home. So at the end, each of the players gets a letter from the unknown guy saying, I knew humans had it to get this done. Thank you so much for your help. That kind of stuff. And I think there might be some rewards from the tea plantation owner guy back in London. Not too much. A standard investigation, Call of Cthulhu scenario, but again with Cthulhu monsters, and not having all the rules for magic and stuff, it got a little dicey, but was not too bad. I do have to admit, it was my worst game of the convention. Again, my fault for not knowing the magic rules and the monster rules well enough. What was the Carker Estate? No, it was the Carker Estate that was the worst. That's because I didn't have the magic, and in some cases the insanity stuff down pat enough to be able to do it. Well, I would think well. Although all the scenarios ran generally well. It wasn't like any of them sucked, or anybody went away unhappy or anything like that. The girl did seem a little put off when her character went unconscious, and wasn't able to do some of the investigation stuff with everybody else, which is it's understandable. Okay, so that was Gen Con for me, 2022. Happy gaming.